This ranking system tutorial will discuss stock factor nodes. Now, if you're unfamiliar with nodes, I strongly suggest that you look at the node properties tutorial first and then come back to this one. Now, I'm going to create two stock factor nodes to add to the fundamental analysis parent. I put my cursor on the parent I'd like to work with. I'm going to click on Add Node, and I'm going to use the drop-down menu to choose Stock Factor. And assuming that you've already been through our screener tutorials, this should be very, very familiar ground. It's pretty much the same as the reference interface from the screener. I'm going to click on Valuation Ratios. I want the PEG. I get my definitions here. I'm going to double click, and the PEG ratio node appears in this folder. Now, with screener, that's all you had to do. You had to add the factor. With ranking, you have to do a little bit more. Portfolio 123 is presuming that if you're using the PEG ratio, PE to growth, that you consider lower numbers to be more favorable. If you want to go for some kind of a momentum concept and you want to favor higher PEGs, you would have to change that. I'm going to leave the default. Portfolio 123 is also assuming that you want to rank stocks, all the stocks in the universe from best to worst. If, on the other hand, you just want to rank a stock for PEG relative only to those in its own industry or sector, you would click on one of these. And you see I just added another factor. But I'm going to cut that. That's not what we're looking for at the moment. If I want to just revise this, I put the mouse on that. Now you'll notice there's something very important. Whatever you do in this area will operate on whichever node the cursor is resting on. Let me go back to Universe. I'm going to put the cursor over here, and I'm going to choose an EPS 5-year growth rate node. Stock factor, growth rates. I'm going to scroll down, and I see my EPS 5-year. I'm going to make this relative to the industry. I'm going to add it, and there we go. And if I'm going to change my mind, let's make it relative to the universe. And it's just that simple. This is how stock factor nodes work. We'll cover weights later. But anyway, this is what it is. It's very simple. Stock factor nodes are exactly as the screener. Same reference area. Notice I can't add another stock factor node. That's because my cursor is resting on something that stands on its own. I have to make sure my cursor is in an appropriate place. It's either in the ultimate composite, the highest level composite node, or a composite node that you created. In either case, I can add a stock factor node. This concludes the tutorial on stock factor nodes.